G-Man Boxing. Do you know what I mean? Every single live he donates. I see him on other lives donating. He's got the bag on it.
Alright people, it feels like fight time. Feels like this fight, we can really touch wood, tick it and say, we're good to go. It looks like we're going full steam ahead. We had the Zoom press conference today for Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. And, you know, I'm old school, of course. I love the normal, there he is, press conference, there they are, all in the same building. We didn't have that. We had the Zoom press conference. It was what it was. But it was interesting. This was the first time we've seen Dillian Whyte. They weren't in the same room, but this was the first time we've seen them together basically doing work for this fight, giving their opinion. And it was interesting for me because I was really wondering, would Dillian Whyte get riled up a bit by Tyson Fury? And would Dillian Whyte go into this press conference maybe feeling that he has a bit of a chip on his shoulder, in a sense of he feels he's been mugged off? And he certainly did allude to that in parts of the interview. You know, he mentioned that he was very annoyed that they were saying this was the Tyson Fury show. As he said, he's done 7 pay-per-view shows. All of the time he's done them 7 pay-per-view shows, the opponent's been treated very well, and he said he didn't feel he was treated with the respect that he deserved. I know obviously he literally, as far as I know, still only getting just the flat figure, which is about 8 million, which is less than what he wanted. Obviously he's not getting a receipt of the pay-per-view or the gate, apparently anyway he's not. I believe that's still the same. So obviously he feels that, I'm sure there's other things going on as well behind the scenes that he's probably not happy about. But now he did state that he is getting a bit happier now, and he said that once these things have started to get rectified, which they appear to be, he's happy to go and do his bit for the promotion. He was basically insinuating that the fact that Team Fury and Team Warren have been difficult to him so far, it was a case of, well, you know what, to you, I'm not going to help you. Now, this reminds me a bit, in a way, I'm not saying this is similar in a sense of this is how it's going to be, but it reminds me in a way actually almost of how Vladimir Klitschko was to Tyson Fury. Obviously he's very different in regards. Tyson Fury wasn't as proven as Dillian Whyte is, and you know, Klitschko had him in the Lions then in Germany, and Tyson Fury was playing the mind games with Klitschko. And Klitschko, what he did was he really kind of made life difficult for Team Fury when they arrived in Dusseldorf, in a sense of, you saw, well, I went back and rewatched a few bits, spoiler alert, went back and rewatched a few bits of the build-up to the Fury-Klitschko fight on fight day. And, you know, you Klitschko saying, you know, you have to wear these gloves, the gloves that Fury didn't want, and they were upset about that. You had the ring, which they were claiming was very spongy and Fury couldn't move, they were upset about that. It's almost like they're doing something similar to Dillian Whyte in terms of where they're really getting to him by not giving him what he wants before the fight. And, you know, now he's saying that things are a bit better. Make no doubt, I wouldn't at all be shocked if... I'll tell you one thing that wouldn't shock me. The glove situation might be an interesting one. I reckon that might be something that will happen on fight night, because Dillian Whyte uses fly gloves. If you've ever seen him he fights, he tends to fight in fly gloves. Well, as far as I'm aware, this was announced during the summer of last year. As far as I'm aware, Sullivan, in his infinite wisdom, decided to say that fly gloves cannot be used in WBC sanctioned bouts. I wonder, will they try and get fly gloves in? And I wonder, will Team Fury say you can't use them, and then whatever gloves they replaced them with, you can't use it? Wouldn't shock me at all if these things like this happen, because I guess it's a way of them getting Dillian Whyte riled up. It's a way of getting Dillian Whyte out of his comfort zone. You know, even on fight week. I mean, Dillian Whyte's saying in the press conference that, you know, it's kind of all good now. As he was saying as well, he's done 7 pay-per-view shows. Every opponent he's fought, he's never had to, you know, annoy them or anything like that. I remember the Rivas fight. Was it Russ Amber was very unhappy with Dillian Whyte's gloves, because he changed gloves, and I think Team Rivas weren't happy they didn't get a chance to check them. That's the only real complaint I've ever heard. In terms of some of the other things Dillian Whyte was talking about, you know, and again, I like what he was doing, the little subtle jibes of Tyson Fury, because he turns around and says, they asked him something to do about, I think, the sparring footage, because they they sparred several years ago. Dillian Whyte has claimed, Tyson Fury has never refuted the claims, that he dropped Tyson Fury at least twice. I think he said it was twice in those spars. Now, I think that was back in 2013. Might have been 2013, 2012. I think it was just before. No, it wasn't after Whyte's ban. I think it was just before Dillian Whyte's ban. So you would have been looking at in around 2012 kind of time, which is just when I think Tyson Fury, I think it was just before he fought Kevin Johnson. It was just before then. Fury's never refuted the claims. And very interestingly, he also pointed out, he said, Fury's a man of honour. Tell us what you did. Who did you donate the $7 million to? Because we remember Tyson Fury claimed he was going to donate his purse from the Deontay Wilder fight to charity. I found that interesting as well, that Dillian Whyte was just kind of saying, you're a man of honour, you know, but you're not letting us know about this, and you're not mentioning this. I did find, with Dillian Whyte, I felt handled it very well, and you know, again, I was worried that maybe Dillian Whyte would go on there and it would be just like a bull in the china shop, that he'd be just like, yeah, Team Fury, you're this, Frank Warren, Bob Arum, yous are all, I'm gonna. No, he was very calm, measured. He gave his point across very well. Looked to me to be in very good shape. You know, he's been training pretty much, like he's been out in Portugal for a couple of months now. He's been out of the ring for over a year, which is, by Dillian Whyte standards, that's a long stretch of inactivity, you know, since the ban. And he came back in early 2015 from that 2-year ban. He's been active every year since. You know, he's been consistently fighting every year. You know, 2020 he had the one fight, 2021 he had the one fight, 2019 he had 2 fights, 2018 he had 3 fights, 2017 he had 2, 16 he had 3 or 4. He had 3 or 4. So he's been always consistent. 2016 he had Chisora, Lewison, Allen. I think he had another fight on an undercard somewhere as well. So he's always been very consistent, very active. So this will be his longest stretch of inactivity before or since the ban, I should say. How will that affect Dillian Whyte? How will, you know, he seems to be in very good shape. Has he lost weight correctly over a prolonged period of time? Has he crashed diet? I doubt he has very much. I'd say he lost that well over a prolonged period of time. But again, I just asked the question, be interested to see what both guys weigh. Judging by the sparring partners Dillian Whyte has had in, I forget the guy's name. Was it something Yerk or something? Victor Junk, I think the guy's name was, the 1-0 German heavyweight, the big 6'8" guy, the southpaw. I expect Dillian Whyte is expecting, I should say, Tyson Fury to move. So he's obviously doing replications of that in sparring, as we saw from the little leaked images that guy posted on Instagram. So the build up to this fight, although it's not been what we would have expected from both these guys, I think I kind of expected fireworks. We've not had that. We're getting something now. I was really curious to see this press conference, albeit Zoom is what it is, beggars can't be choosers, just to see how Dillian Whyte would be. I genuinely kind of thought in my head, he's going to be fiery, he's going to be fired up, he's going to be riled up, he's going to be pissed, but he wasn't. And I thought he came across very well. He showed a great degree of confidence, which you would expect from Dillian Whyte, and it's made me kind of really switch on and say, right, this fight's definitely going ahead. You know, I believed it would. I talked about it before, but you know, you always had that little nagging bit of doubt, especially a fight like this where there's been a kind of lot of things behind the scenes since the get-go, since it was first talked about, but now we're in fight mode now. This day week will be, I think, probably the public workouts, followed by, or maybe that's Wednesday week, followed then by the weigh-in on Friday. I'm looking forward to it, as are many others. We've got big plans for next week. I mean, next week, obviously there's going to be a lot of boxing news coming out, but next week, Fury Wilder week on the channel. You know, I've even got a few special things planned, a few subscriber little things, nice things for you as well. So I've got a big week planned ahead for next week. For now, I'll leave you with that. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What did you make of it? Did you watch it full? What did you think? Has it made you believe now that we are getting this fight, that this is looking good? And it's Dillian Whyte's confidence and the way he seems to be just kind of taking everything in the stride. Do you think that has swayed your opinion potentially? Or do you think as well, potentially Tyson Fury, there's more shenanigans to come? Let me know in the comment section. Smash the like button if you could, lads and lassies. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll talk to you. Peace.